Yeah, very uncharacteristic display. I can talk about players being out and bodies being, being missed again. But the bottom line is, we mentally need to, need to get ourselves back to Nashville, um, get ourselves back on the training field, and look forward to a couple of players that are coming back into the group, of course. A very different display from last week, and awfully disappointing to have been on the receiving end of that one tonight.
Yeah, Gary, I know you've kind of mentioned recently just some frustration and unhappiness with just kind of the general defending. And it definitely felt like that was present tonight. Just kind of what did you make of the overall defensive performance?
Well, the real difficult thing is, Ben, I've just said to the guys in there, unexpected wouldn't really, truly categorise my mindset, of course. But last week's display was very, very decent at home. There were a lot of good performances, and have been for a couple of these guys in the back line. Today, the opening 15 minutes looked anything but. It was too pedestrian. There were some really poor choices. I thought we were as much to blame for the opening two goals as they probably would take credit for the finishing. Look, the two centre backs last week did a fabulous job. Lucas, up until we left on Thursday morning, was part of that group and pulled out of training with a groin problem. So, we have to change the centre back pairing yet again. And certainly the start of the game did nothing to build confidence in that back line or in that central pairing.
Yeah. Gary, I guess was was there any I guess did you worry at all about facing LAFC just with them being a team that won back-to-back Western Conference titles, but came in having not scored in 300 minutes, having not won in 3 games.
Yeah, look, it's early on in the season for this LAFC group, and I think we've seen before teams that just take maybe a couple of games longer to get into their stride. But what you do know is they have a tremendous amount of talent and quality in their group. We've played here before. It's a very, very difficult place to play. They play at a very high tempo, and we fell foul of that. The guys were fully aware of what they were coming into. Preparations, I felt, were decent, but actually being in the right mental state and affecting the game in those early stages. When you come to these places, you've got to put 15, 20 minutes on the clock, and the game changes. We were unable to do that for probably the third or fourth time this year, and really that point is a tremendously difficult one for the group. We're conceding too many goals early on in the game.
Hey Gary, this match, or at least until the red card, played very similar, I thought, to the Miami match in Miami, where the beginning kind of is a little hectic and you concede and you try to get back into it. And I thought there were some chances from your side, but the question here is, what is preventing Nashville from getting back into the game, even when they are creating? You guys are creating a little bit of chances, but you're unable to score from them. Is it structural? Is it personnel?
Well, look, I think there's a couple of points there, Valer. I've seen teams over the years that are great when they're behind, and the reason that they're great is because the pressure's off. When you come into a game, there's pressure on the game. You've got to stay in it. There are certain things that you have to achieve. The management of the game early on was dreadfully poor. Twice we tried to play out in difficult circumstances, and they scored off the back of that. One from a dead ball, and the other one in from the penalty spot. So, in those periods, you've got to show an awful lot more character, understanding, experience, management. And that wasn't shown out of the group, point blank. The second part, I honestly thought that Sam's goal looked as though it should have stood. I've not seen a slow motion of what went on in the box. From where we were, the linesman put his flag up. There was no offside. And the referee was saying that there was a foul when we couldn't see one. So I don't quite know, unless somebody else can give me a little bit of an heads up on that. It was a very, very important point in the game. It was a period that we'd started to show a little bit more going forward. And at that stage of the game, 2-1 obviously changes the dynamic of where the game's headed.
Yeah, Gary, I think in general, kind of after losses like this, it might be easy to overreact or jump to conclusions. And I'm certainly not trying to do that, but kind of looking back to just the team's form since Leagues Cup, I think it's 5 wins from 21 games. It potentially feels like things are maybe not trending in the right direction. I'm curious just kind of how you feel about this team's progress over the last couple of months, and just from your perspective, how you kind of get them back to how you guys were playing to start last year and maybe in that Leagues Cup run.
Well, I think the first point here, Ben, is it's the first defeat of the season. It's not in the league. It's not a good defeat. It will taste very bitter, this one. I think there have been few occasions we've conceded as many goals as that. But it leads to the second point. I don't know that we've had our best players on the field or our best team on the field at any point in this early stage of the season. So we can look at whatever the stats are telling us. The simple facts are we've actually played some very decent football in the last couple of weeks. Even against Miami, if you look at the home game, should have won the game there, end up drawing the game, actually put on a terrific display down in Miami in that second period, should get more out of it, don't. We're creating chances, we're getting in good positions. The attitude of the group has been excellent up until tonight. And I would even question that there wasn't an awful lot wrong with our attitude, just some really poor passages of play that put us in a really tight spot. So I think your question might be better for me when we've got our best team and our best group available. And we haven't been able to put that group on the field. And therefore, I think part of tonight's result is how we've fallen foul of a very good LAFC side with a group, quite frankly, that are missing 6 senior players. So, yes, the result stings, but I think that's a little bit premature to be asking that question.
Yeah, tough one. Hard to find the right words right now for the game, but yeah, we have to have a short memory and try to, today maybe digest it, and then from tomorrow on, full focus on the next game.
Yeah, Hany, you mentioned needing to, I guess, digest and process this loss, but how do you balance that with how do you balance that with moving on and and also maybe using this loss as maybe a sort of motivation or a galvanizing event? Is that something you try to do?
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely a very hard one. It's very painful, but like I said, we have to move forward from tomorrow on. Tonight will be a hard night, but we have to digest it, and then tomorrow, like, full focus on the next game and trying to watch the film, what went wrong, and the first 10-15 minutes, like they were just all over us, and that's what we have to see how can we do it better, and then we have 2 home games in front of us, so
Hey, Hany, looking at the season as a whole, I know it's hard to look past tonight, but as a season as a whole, you've spoken in the past, before the season started and before seasons, about playing with the ball and being better with the ball as a team. Have you noticed any improvements this season at all in that aspect?
I think it's hard, the question after 0-5 defeat. You know, like it's. I don't think the right time now to talk about like playing with the ball or not. And right now it's more, you know, how can we bounce back? How can we, you know, like what made us strong the last couple of years? You know, like right now it's not thinking about things what we should improve. It's more about what made us strong in the past, because we were always a very difficult team to play against. You know, and then it's coming back to, you know, the roots, and that's where we should focus on right now.
Yeah, Hany, I that your answer there kind of touches on a question I asked Gary just about how this team gets back to. I mean, the team that started last season looked like a Supporter Shield contender for the first part of the year, and then obviously making to the Leagues Cup final. Just when you're kind of looking at that team, what do you think made that team so successful? And is it how do you maybe flip a switch or whatever you need to do to kind of get it back to how it was then?
Yeah, I think we just have to concentrate right now on what made us strong. You know, what is the Nashville DNA? You know, like right now it's definitely not the time to try to find something new and, you know, like to do something crazy. You know, like we have to go back to the basics, and that starts with being compact and you know, being hard to play against, and then we go from there. That made us strong, and out of there we were able to play, and we were able to create chances. We were able to score goals. So I think that's what we have to do. Of course, in the end, we have to all stick our heads together beginning of the week, and then see what we can do better. And Columbus, we know about their strength, so it's not an easy task. But yeah, we know that we can be a very difficult team to play against.